morning, everyone. Welcome into the first episode of Sidekicked, a Marvel Champions podcast.
Hey, let's go.
Ew.
My name is Jason Sketch. I am one of your hosts this morning. With me today is also Earth Twister
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Earth Twister.
and Levi Lewis.
Ew. Oh, no, that's still your AO. Sorry. My bad.
Welcome in, guys. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing pretty well. Still waking up. You got me up at 5:30 this morning to record, so we're making do.
I thought you were talking about the audience, but we don't have an audience, so...
No, definitely asking you guys how you're doing. Yeah, the two of you that are here with me at 5:30 in the morning, recording our first episode of Sidekicked. Might be why everybody hears a frog in our voice as we're talking, but it just seemed to be the best time to record. As you get older in life, something changes where there's this thing called a job, and you have to get up beforehand to get to, and then after you get off the job, people start having kids and girlfriends and stuff, and
I mean, we're all...
just keeps you busy.
We are all men, and you're talking about getting older. I thought you were going to talk about your prostate.
Yeah.
No, not yet. Don't need that exam. Wow, what a way to enter into our family-friendly podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Family friendly?
Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves and talk about why we are here at 5:30 in the morning talking about Marvel Champions. Well, our goal is to take like an ally and discuss and talk about it. The thing we've discovered, and the thing I feel like I've discovered, is everybody loves talking about the different heroes of the game, and everybody knows these different heroes. We all know who Nightcrawler is, Captain America, Gambit, Wolverine, War Machine, but we don't know who some of these allies are. I love playing the game because I end up with, especially with the X-Men so far, I'm like, who in the world are these random heroes that they're throwing in as these ally characters? Like Sync. Sync is a huge, crazy one. That's going to be our first, full-length episode talking about Sync. That'll be episode 2. But then you have other fun characters like White Fox. And that's just in the X-Men wave. There's some Avengers characters that we got to look into. There's some Champions characters. Shoot, I don't know anything about the Champions, by the way. Not a single thing. So we figured we would take some of these characters, talk about their comic book history, talk about their superpowers, talk about how they impact the game, and then decide whether they're worthwhile using in the game or not, and if their powers match up to their comic book history.
Let's do it.
So what is Marvel Champions?
A great question, Levi. Tell us.
Oh, I'm supposed to know? Dang it.
You're supposed to know. Yeah, well,
So it's a physical card game. So anytime I talk to anybody about it, they're like, "Oh, so what app is this game on?" I'm like, "No, I said it was a card game. It's a card game. Physical cards. It's a Marvel deck building game where you always you always play as a hero. You build your deck as a hero, like Captain America is a very popular one, or the Hulk, or Iron Man, and you build your deck to that player, and you have 4 different aspects. You have aggression, leadership, justice, protection, but then there's also the Deadpool aspect, but we're not going to talk about that one right now. And then you always fight a villain, and the villain always has schemes, and he's always attacking, and the villain's normally really annoying. But what's great about the game is every hero plays very similar to how the heroes would act in a comic, or they would act in a video game, or they would act in a TV show or the movies, which is really, really good. And I believe the same is with the allies and the villains. It's a co-op game too, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the game, the cooperative aspect of it. I have a lot of people that I play with who are very competitive, and it's not fun playing competitive games with them, but if you're playing cooperative, it can be a lot more fun.
Yes.
it's neat looking at the game, right? Because if we're talking about cooperative games, I hate Pandemic with a passion. I feel like every time I play Pandemic, somebody tells me what I have to do. Marvel Champions, you come in with a deck that you built, you designed, and then you get to play with the people that are around you. It gets my fix for wanting to play things like Pokemon or Magic, but I don't feel stupid that my deck isn't functioning the way it's supposed to function, because you, especially when you're playing with other teammates, they can kind of help balance you out.
Yeah.
And it's really neat based on even player level, because you can go down to play 2 solo by yourself, all the way up to playing with like 4 players, and your way you build your deck can vary from group size.
And if you're good enough at it, you can play co-op by yourself. That is a thing.
That's an interesting way to put it. Uh,
Where you
I've
have,
never heard of it
Sure.
being cooperative by yourself, but yeah,
I
two-handed
mean,
gameplay is amazing.
yeah. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
It's called called right now. It's called two-handed gameplay. At least that's what they're labeling it as on the internet. But yeah, we're super excited. There's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of content out there about this game. If you're really looking for something, it's kind of funny because I think the way that Earth Twister was describing it to me when he was talking about starting some content and stuff is it is a very popularized game in such a niche department as well. So you're looking at it in the sense of like Minecraft is so popular, it's so far out there that everybody knows what Minecraft is. And so you have millions of viewers and listeners, and they're loyal and they're excited about it. But then you look and you have that same amount of excitement about Marvel Champions, but it's such a smaller group of people compared to the wide range of people that play like Minecraft or something to that effect. And so people are excited. They love. There's a niche to it. There's an excitement for it, but it is widely growing. So hopefully it'll continue to grow, and we can get more and more people into the game by just listening about some awesome characters from the game.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
So I thought it'd be neat to kind of talk about. We've described what the game looks like. We know who the game is. I thought it'd be neat to kind of talk about some of us. Why are we valuable in listening to for a Marvel Champions content podcast? And so I've got some different questions here. I'm sure you guys got your show notes pulled up so you can answer those questions as well. And I'm sure that you guys are smart enough to bring some questions along with you as well. It looks like Levi Lewis has got like 10 questions and a sticky note that stapled to his head for us to read as well. No? Oh, okay.
No.
That was a reminder for you to take your sack lunch to work today.
Yeah.
I knew it. All right. So we've already mentioned our online names. Again, I'm Jason Sketch. I think our first question is, how long have we been playing the game? I started playing the game. I picked it up in 2023. Yeah, it was in 2023. I was walking around. I had just gotten married, and we were walking around doing some Black Friday shopping. And I saw this game pop up, and it had popped up a couple times before where I saw like, oh, it looks really cool. I'd seen it in a couple different places, but I didn't even bother to pick it up because I didn't want to buy a game that I couldn't play, because all my friends that like playing games, like my brother who lives in 3 hours away, it makes it difficult to play games and get together and things like that. The minute I discovered that you could play it by yourself, I started doing a little more research. My second question is my favorite character in the game, and Gambit actually showed up as one of the first ones to pull up, and it was on discount. So I was like, shoot, I have to buy this game. Ended up picking it up, and I think I cracked it open about a month later with Levi Lewis and a couple of other guys at a friend's house, and we all had a blast just starting to play then.
Yeah. So you introduced me to the game, and yeah, we played it where it was you straight out of the box played it with 4 of us. I think I played She-Hulk for the first that first time, and to be honest, I think that was the first time, like that's the only time I've played She-Hulk, but She-Hulk was very fun. but yeah, and what was interesting about the game is I was like, what's interesting about this game is that it's hard, it's difficult, but it's not unbeatable, and that's something that I really really like about it. But yeah, that's when I started to play it with you, Jason, and then slowly I was like, okay, I got to get the game. And definitely when I first started getting the game, I did not get the core set at first. I think the first hero I got was Deadpool, and I was like, I love Deadpool. Deadpool's the coolest. And I was like, Deadpool's hard. He's so hard. But I mean,
It's so much fun.
yeah, I mean, so much fun too. But like, not really understanding the game all that well, being the first deck I got, I was like, okay. I mean, now I'm like, okay, I've played him in other things. Like he's wonderful solo against Juggernaut because he can't die. But
True.
stuff like
and
that
if you had acceleration tokens on Juggernaut, it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter because he's just gonna attack you, and Deadpool's just like, come at me, bro. But yeah, like slowly I figured out a whole bunch of stuff, and now I have the entire game.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that'll segue into the next question. But let's hear let's hear about Earth Twister. How long have you been playing?
Man, I think I started playing in 2024 when you introduced me. I was over at your house hanging out with you, and you introduced me to the game. I think we took Spider-Man and Gambit, both Injustice against Rhino, and
Probably, yeah. 'Cause I was
we,
still
we
figuring that out.
we got completely obliterated
By
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 Rhino.
the Rhino.
By the Rhino that first time, and then the second time we went up against him, it's like we had the game figured out, and we completely just destroyed him, which was amazing. And I think like the next week, I ended up getting the core set and started working on getting some more stuff as I could. So
It was kind of funny. We played the Rhino. We did lose that first time, and my first thought was like, well, great. He's gonna hate this game. He's gonna think this is stupid. We lost. We moved on. So the next day I was like, cool. He was staying over a weekend, and I was like, hey, do you want to play that game again, or do you want to do something different? Because I have other board games and stuff. He goes like, no. We have to beat the freaking Rhino. I want to play again. I was like, great, let's do it. And so we got into it. And so that's exciting to see that even if you lose the game, it's still fun enough to want to try it again.
I mean, it's also part of who I am as a person. Like, I have to do something until I get it done. And so whenever I face a scenario, if I lose that first time, I'm immediately resetting and I'm trying again with the same deck. Like, I might change it up eventually, but I'm going at it with the same deck, trying to make sure that I can do, my plan against the thing to try and make it work, even if it's not going to work. I keep going after it. So
There are just some matchups and some deck builds that just don't collide well,
they don't, but
unfortunately.
I'm going to make it work.
Oh man, just like using a drill to nail a nail into the wall.
It'll work eventually.
Awesome. So we all jumped into the game right between the end of Next Evolution and Age of Apocalypse. So I think Next Evolution had just finished releasing all of its stuff out. We jumped in the game right about then, and then when there was like no content between when I bought the game, to my knowledge, I could be wrong. When I bought the game to when Age of Apocalypse came out, there was no new content. And so we experienced 2024 really as our first year of release stuff, which was wild because I think we're looking now and we're like, oh, people are saying they're back to normal release, which is looking like 2 big box expansions and then like 8 new heroes per year, where we experienced 1 big box expansion and 4 new heroes. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic to experience this upcoming year.
There goes my money.
There goes all of my money, exactly. And I want to jump into talking about the new stuff. We got to get focused. So, full collection. I think, Levi Lewis, you mentioned that you have the full collection now.
Hey-o.
As of January 23rd of 2025, you have the full collection.
Yes, I have the full collection. Well, I have everything except for the printable cards that you can only print. You can't purchase. That's the only thing I don't have.
Print and play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't really count, right?
I mean, there are some that have claimed that it does, but I don't.
Well, you better get on that.
I don't. I don't claim it.
I mean, I'd like to try that print and play run-in set at some point, but that's beyond this conversation. For me, I've got most of the X-Men. I think I'm just missing Phoenix. So I've got most of the X-Men wave, starting from Mutant Genesis all the way through. I've got all the big box sets that are available. I'm missing several Guardians. I'm missing several Avengers. I think I got like wave. I don't even have wave 1 done because I don't have Miss Marvel.
No.
I have 1 champion, I think, out of all of the champions that are out. Nova, that's right. And that's because I wanted 1 aggression card out of Nova. So,
Own technique.
Own technique. So, but what about you, Earth Twister? Where are you at in the collection?
I have everything except for Valkyrie and War Machine. So I'm really really close to having a full collection, and I'm getting a little nervous with the new release of the Shield box, and I'm gonna have to decide whether to get the Shield box or go ahead and get Valkyrie and War Machine and save the Shield box for a little bit later.
Man, you have everything but Valkyrie, you said?
And War Machine.
And War Machine. Wow, you're just missing parts of. That's crazy. Dang, I'm so far behind, and I'm the one who got the game first. Wow, that's all good. I'll catch up. There's some characters that I want them, but I'm not. Again, like Valkyrie's just one of those. I'm like, cool, I'll get there eventually. And the same thing with like, I know at this point in time, spoiler alert, if you haven't paid attention, Shuri's releasing in April. I'm feeling the same way. I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll get Shuri eventually. So, but it is what it is. So each player, but that's the beauty of the game is if you're just not interested in a character, it's not that detrimental to your gameplay. So speaking of characters, who is your favorite hero?
In the game or just in general?
You can do both if you want to. I imagined your favorite character to play in the game would be the direction I was going with when I wrote the question originally. But you want to do both, that is okay as well, because now it's gonna have to make me think.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead. I'll take the batter up on this one. My favorite hero typically is Hawkeye. I love just the story of the character, everything like that. But in Marvel Champions, he's not my favorite hero. He's way too squishy, and I feel like you have to play him in one way or another. If you're playing solo, I feel like you have to have leadership, so you can just have a bunch of allies. Maybe protection. Haven't really tried him in that yet. He can be really good in aggression or justice. Probably more aggression, just because he deals out a lot of damage with some of his arrow events, and just being able to use some extra stuff to buff up his attack is great. But as far as the rest of it, I mean, he's got low health, basically zero defense. So if you're defending with him, then you're basically reducing anything you can do, and he's basically dying in one hit. So he's not my favorite in champions. I'd have to say probably like Domino was one of my favorite heroes to play. I just really love the discard mechanic, and I feel like as you're continuing to build through different parts of her, she can be really really good. I think the other hero that's sort of tied with Domino is Jubilee. I see a lot of hate for Jubilee online, but I love her to death. Give me a hone technique with Jubilee, and nothing's gonna get in my way. She's gonna obliterate everything.
It's pretty cool. I was very surprised by how she turned out game, and I think it was interesting because I think you were right in the fact that she's just getting a lot of hate online. Because every time somebody talk about her, it's like, yeah, she's not that great. She's not really worth it. And then like the only person I heard for a long time that was like, no, play Jubilee was Earth Twister. I love Jubilee. I don't know why people are hating on her. And to watch some of his gameplay content, don't even play with him in person. She's a pretty scary character to contend with.
Yeah, I think the main thing though that people complain about her is when she's going up against a steady or stalwart villain. She struggles a little bit there because she's kind of squishy too. You know, she's got 2 defense and then she's only got 9 health. But you throw in an endurance, if you're playing in protection, you throw in an armored vest, and you're just as good as Gambit. You know, protection. I feel like really she'd be amazing in a change of fortune type of deck. So I might be playing her in protection again sometime soon.
What about you, Levi?
So my favorite character is Captain America, and in the game, Captain America actually is a pretty fun deck, or pretty fun like character to play. But I don't play I have played Captain America, and Captain America is fun, but I prefer like just other characters that can just do, I don't know, just different things. And so like in the game. And so one of my favorite, I think my favorite right now is actually Adam Warlock. And Adam Warlock is a very tough deck to build because Adam Warlock, you have to have all 4 aspects in his deck, and it has to be an equal amount of each one, and you can't have more than 1 copy of the same card in his deck. Like even his basic cards, you cannot have more than 1 of that card. And so it's a little more challenging when you're building it, but it's very very fun because whenever you're playing, he just does everything. He does it all.
And he does it well, right? I mean, he's not like one of those jack of all trades that gets out there and does a little bit of this, does a little bit of that, but doesn't do it well. He does everything well.
Yeah, he does everything well. His own actual cards are stupid good. He does some really 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 cool stuff. Like he has an attack card that does like 8 damage. Okay, so he has one attack card where he does 4 damage, and then you discard up to 4 cards, and depending on how many aspects you discarded, you do 1 more damage for every different aspect. So if you drew all 4 different aspects, you do a total of 8 damage, which is really unique. And then in his deck, you want to go cycle through it a lot because he has another card where if you cycle through it and you have it, if you played this card like it's an upgrade, and you cycle through it, you get a token on it for every time that you've cycled through your entire deck. And then if you've done that, you can get rid of that token, and then you can, like if you have like 2 health left, you can heal all the way back to your full health.
Such a good card.
Yeah, he's so good.
I love how you like having the hard learning curve there, Levi Lewis. You mentioned that your first character you bought was Deadpool.
Yeah, it was Deadpool.
And it was difficult. And now you're talking about Adam Warlock being really is described as one of the hardest learning curves in the game. So hard that first time I saw Levi Lewis play Adam Warlock, he completely forgot to put any Mystic cards in the deck. And so
well,
that was...
It's because at that point I had never played any Mystic characters. That's why I didn't do it, because I was like, why is this being so hard? Oh yeah, this is a mystic character. I should probably put those cards in there. Thanks, Jason, for.
I think the funniest thing was, I wish I had a bigger hand size. Well, when you draw Sorcerer Supreme out, you should be fine. I forgot to put Sorcerer Supreme in the deck. Oh man, it was quite amusing. For me, yeah, favorite character, favorite hero. Man, my favorite hero I want to say, for deck building purposes, my favorite hero is going to be Spider-Woman. I like the idea of there being two aspects you can blend together and try to build something new. I have yet to build a effective Spider-Woman deck in the year that I've been playing this game. And so I need to go back and explore that. It's something that sits in the back of my mind of like, I want to just build one more deck. There's a thought that I've had recently. I'm talking about different allies, right? Like one of the allies that I'm excited to try is that Protection Rogue ally, where she copies you and does stuff, and I want to build a leadership protection deck that focuses on Rogue being the actual quote-unquote hero as the protection hero, but using Spider-Woman.
Huh.
You play enough events down with Spider-Woman, you beef up her stats, then you have Rogue attack Spider-Woman to get those stats, make big hits, or make big thwarts. It's
That's
a thought
really
that I've
cool
had.
concept. I like that.
I haven't even looked into doing it yet, and so
Has anybody else done it?
not that I've seen online, but I've not explored that option. But I thought it would be a neat build to look into. The trick is with any ally build like that, if you're just focusing on one ally, is finding that ally and pulling it out. But I guess if you're using that leadership build, you can use that Sidekick card deck that lets you look for a specific ally and pull it out. So I'll have to look more into it, but it was just a thought. But yeah, my hero I really love playing the most, I've already said it, is Gambit. Just any aspect I've played Gambit in, I've enjoyed it. I've found a way to make him work really well, and it's really cool that he has that. He can flip down and still do some thwarting, so you're not too worried. Plus, you have cards when you flip down to confuse the villain. When you're up, you're building up those cards so that you can stack up your explosion cards to make your attacks hit harder. You can, if you're in aggression, you're playing things like full body charge. It already swings for like a stupid amount of damage. You stack those cards on top of that, you're swinging for a higher amount of damage. I love it for the protection aspect, like Change of Fortune we were talking about, where you're attacking the villain on his turn. Not only are you attacking the villain for a powerful punch or 4 points of damage, you're now stacking on the extra 3 to swing for 7, and it costs you basically nothing except for a few tokens on your character. It feels like you're hitting hard and big every time you're playing Gambit, or you can be sneaky at the same time. So I've enjoyed that a lot. Hero I love reading about the most? Probably Magneto. I think him as a character has grown quite a bit. And so if I was to think about like my favorite hero to go read about, would probably be Magneto. Especially what really changed that for me was the Age of Apocalypse graphic novel series. And kind of from that point forward, I really loved Magneto as a character. So, and I feel like he gets written poorly sometimes as a villain and as a hero. But when his standalone comics, Magneto's stories always stand out. So
I do think Magneto is a phenomenal, like, character that, yeah, I think he gets pushed to the side way too much as a villain. But yeah, but anytime, like, because his story is just so tragic.
Right. And I don't think the movies have done him justice. I love Gandalf, the guy, and I know I should know his real name, the guy who played Magneto. Ian
McKellen?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gandalf.
But I don't think he did Magneto justice, and I don't think then even in First Class we got a good Magneto. I'm really hoping MCU really gives us a good Magneto in the future. So
that's your opinion, and you can have it.
All right. Favorite aspect? What's your favorite aspect to play in the game?
Pool. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Tell me more about that, Levi.
No. My favorite aspect is aggression. I love my favorite aggression card. You've already said it, is full body charge. It's 8 damage, and if it kills a minion, it does overkill, which the rest of the damage would go to the main villain, which is...
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that is there's a kicker for it, right? You have to have your health at half or less.
Yeah, that's the only kicker for the overkill, but...
Mm-hmm.
Normally, whenever I do full body charge, it's against the main villain, so I'm not even worried about the overkill.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely aggression. Was it piercing strike, precision strike? All those are just so cool. I don't know what to say.
I think just thinking back at your history, right? Your first perfect deck that you built was a Wolverine aggression deck.
Oh yeah, like anytime somebody's like, I'm telling somebody about the game, and anytime like they're like, man, that sounds really cool. Could I play sometime? And I'm like, heck yeah, got the perfect deck for you. And what's really funny is how often people are like, Wolverine, like I don't know if I want to play, and I'm like, trust me. And it's not what's good about the deck that I have for that is it's not hard to grasp how to play it. Like it's very very simple. That's what's so great about Wolverine is Wolverine's a very simple character. Like it just in general, most people like Wolverine like as a character. So most people like that don't even know Marvel. Like I have a friend that knows almost nothing about Marvel, but he loves to play this game with me. And this was the deck that I showed him. He was like, "Oh, I get it. I see what's happening now. Okay." And he was just like destroying whoever we were playing.
Awesome. It's so cool. I think I'm gonna have to second that. Probably, it's really close for me for aspects. It's either gonna be aggression or protection. I find myself playing a lot of justice, and I enjoy justice, but I find myself doing that more when I'm playing in the multiplayer positions because it's just not the most popular build, right? Aspect, I guess, is the right way to say that. But I really enjoy playing protection and aggression both. I think they're a lot of fun. I mean, that's and then those of you that don't know, protection's obviously about protecting the table. Justice is about taking care of the scheme. This is very like granular, right? Like this is a fine point if you've never played the game. Aggression is about hitting hard and fast, and then leadership is about taking care of all the holes in the table. And so those are the four core aspects, and then you have the pool aspect that's about causing chaos to win the game. So
not necessarily. If you know how to build a pool aspect deck, it can be very advantageous. I know I used a big word there that I don't even know what it means.
You or Deadpool.
Or Deadpool. Deadpool does definitely does not know that. But no, like I have a deck that if anytime I play Drax, typically I play a Drax pool deck, and the stuff that he did because he has a tic-tac-toe card that is just broke. That takes I think it takes like scheme away. I think that's how it works.
Right. Yeah.
But once you take all the scheme away, you can like once you've made a tic-tac-toe on there, you do damage to a villain, then it's broke.
It's a great card.
I need to try pool aspect. I've not played it yet. I've seen it played twice, both by Levi.
Well, 3 times with Deadpool. We won't count the Deadpool time.
Drax pool was fun to watch
It
though.
was.
Yeah, we've totally talked over or Earth Twister here though, who's wanting to talk about his aspect.
Yep.
What's your favorite aspect, Earth Twister?
Would you like to be on the podcast today?
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Got up at 5:30 for this, you know. I feel like I'm with you there, Jason, as far as like having a love for two different aspects. And I used to really, really hate Justice, and I feel like it was because it was the standard one. It's like the first game you play is Justice, and to me that means basic, right? Like Justice is the basic aspect, and that's what you play if you're not good at the game. But now that I've gotten into it more, I really love Justice, especially a float like a butterfly build where
Yes.
it feels almost dirty. It's like you can't scheme and now I'm doing extra damage to you. So you can't scheme and you're not going to live, it feels dirty and it feels great being able to do that, which is also why I love protection, especially in a change of fortune type of build with specifically the preemptive strike card. The villain's like, I'm gonna flip this card on you, and you're gonna get a ton of damage, and I'm like, no, you're only gonna do your attack to me. I'm canceling those boost icons, and that's going in damage on you instead. So good luck with that. And it feels so good. It's like when you're playing Marvel Rivals and somebody starts ulting, and you're like, you're dead, and you just kill them, and they're really mad and frustrated now because they just wasted their ult. It's amazing.
Hey, I just want to. We're talking about Marvel Champions, not Marvel Rivals. Let's
bring it back. My bad.
bring it
My
back.
bad. But no, that's one reason why I love protection. Yeah, it's definitely about defending the table, but it can also be almost an aggression style play, but in the villain phase. So
That is cool. Change of Fortune changed the protection aspect up quite a bit. And I think it fits pretty well with a lot of decks. And it's kind of funny because I think you were mentioning to me when it first dropped, you're like, I don't think it's perfect yet. And I was like, I don't know. I'm winning a lot with Gambit right now with this kind of build. It's a blast. I'm winning a lot with Thor. oh my gosh, doing chain call come at me bub with Thor and getting like what 5 cards or something stupid like that every time a minion comes in, plus healing and getting a tough status card, and then going in for a big swing. It's wild.
Yeah.
So
Man, I actually played Cyclops in Change of Fortune build yesterday, and with his upgrade priority target, if you defeat whatever minion or villain that card is attached to, you draw 2 cards. So you do that with Unflappable and Change of Fortune, and you're drawing 5 cards from defeating a villain or a minion on their turn, and so you're getting back everything that you've lost in spending your card to be able to do damage to him and some.
that is wild. Well, I know we're getting close to time because some of us are getting ready for work and stuff. Let's finish things up. I was going to do your favorite ally in each aspect. Maybe we just talk about our favorite ally in general to play. Maybe talk briefly about why it's our favorite ally. So for me, I think, and it varies, right? Like there's so many allies in the game so far. There's a lot going on out there. Do you all still want to try to do all aspects, or do you want to try to do just your favorite one in general?
Just I said favorite, just favorite.
Just favorite in general. All right, cool. For me, my favorite one to probably play is going to be Sync. I did a build right when Sync, or right after Sync came out with Nightcrawler, and really just beefing up Nightcrawler's attacks was a huge part of it because Sync's benefit, and we'll talk about him in the next episode. That is our first ally we're going to discuss. Sync's got this, when you exhaust him, give your identity, your main character, +1 attack and +1 thwart. And so it boosts stats of your character that you're attacking with. I used him in a build with Rogue at Earth Twister's house, and it was what I was swinging for like 8 or 9 every time I attacked with that build. It was something wild, and so it was a good time. And so I like using that basic attack to attack. I think it just feels like I'm doing my thing, even though you have all these cool cards. Your character's the one making the attack based on their actual stats, and so Sync is one of my favorite allies to play for that very reason, just boosting up the stats that are on my main character there.
I think for me, it's probably the Gambit ally in basic, which is, I think you also chose a basic ally there too, but I just love being able to look at the encounter deck and then be like, this card sucks. I'm gonna take it and put it under Gambit so you can't use it, or just having like 3 boost icons sitting under Gambit where the villain would have attacked me with that, and now I'm using it against the villain. So it's like the way I like to play, sneaky sort of. You can't do that to me because I'm gonna do it to you instead, which is just how I love to play games, I think.
So
Beautifully done.
yeah, it is beautiful, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
My favorite is not a basic, is actually an aggression hero. It is Boom Boom, which Jason, you introduced me to Boom Boom, and I was like,
sneaky ally.
and I remember when you showed me that, and I was just like, oh my goodness, and I looked through, I was like, do I have this card? No, I have to get this card. So Boom Boom, what it does is once you put her down, for every round, you exhaust her and you put a token on her, and then whenever you finally feel froggy, after so long, she's definitely a long game ally to have, because once you finally feel froggy enough, then she has enough tokens on her, you basically explode her. You discard her, and all the tokens that she has does that amount. So if there's 5 tokens on her, yeah, she goes boom boom. If she has 5 tokens on her, she does 5 damage to every villain and minion, everybody. Except the heroes.
It's a good turn 1 play. If you can get her out turn 1, and you just sit there and let her tick the entire game.
Oh yeah.
You can get away with some big damage. I think I played one game where I knew I had enough attack on me that if I take the villain out on turn 1, on his phase 1, they get to phase 2, I could do enough damage to either eliminate the villain completely or
Get him within a hair's breath.
Yeah.
get him a hair of their life. Yeah, it was so good.
I can't tell you how many times Boom Boom has like saved me. I'm like, I'm about to die. All this stuff was like, the scenario's about to finish. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, but then there's Boom Boom.
Right, so then I can focus on thwarting, and Boom Boom will just eliminate all these minions. Like, I think she's a very good card for like mutagen formula. You just let her tick for a while, and then oh shoot, I'm swarmed with like 6 goblins. Pop, all them goblins are dead, and Green Goblin got hurt pretty bad. You throwing pumpkin bombs at me? Wait till I show you what I've got. So
So there,
Very reminiscent of the spirit bomb from Goku.
so there is an ally. There's an ally that I want to be my favorite, but I have yet to actually use, and that is Lockjaw. So
Lockjaw is such an interesting
it's
ally.
it's
sure.
really neat. I want like every time I'm like I'm gonna use this card finally. I'm gonna put Lockjaw in my like. I typically put Lockjaw in like all of my decks, but I've since have yet to use him. So Lockjaw, what you do is, I mean, obviously you can just play him like once he's in your hand, but once he is in your discard pile, you can play him. Like that's what his text reads. Once he is in your discard pile, you can play him directly from your discard pile. You just have to pay his cost, which he is a 4 resource cost. But he's a pretty neat guy. Like, I mean,
What's his health points?
mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got to look at his health and his attack and stuff.
I remember they were good.
I think
I remember them to be
it
good.
might be worth putting in a Magneto deck. Where you're already milling your deck out, and it's going to end up in your discard pile anyways.
Well, he's also good in Adam Warlock because you're doing the same thing.
Oh, there you go.
Or Domino, I suppose.
Oh yeah, Domino. Is he a wild resource? He's probably mental resource.
I
Isn't
feel
he?
like, yeah, he's a mental resource.
Don't worry, folks. If you're listening to this podcast, like these guys don't know their allies, we'll have the image pulled up on our screen when we actually talk about said ally for each episode.
We will.
Lockjaw actually has 4 health, but he takes 2 consequential for everything he does.
Oh.
Okay. What's his resource?
Physical.
Physical resource. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't give a mental resource to a dog unless it's Cosmo. So
Now you have me
Ooh.
curious.
I'm excited for our next episode, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about Sync, and the way that we're hoping to lay out the episode is we'll come in, we'll talk about what we've been playing recently, we'll talk about the ally itself and kind of just its comic book history. Then we will dive into describing the card, its uses, and all that fun stuff. So looking forward to seeing you guys here on the next episode. And my name's Jason Sketch,
I'm Earth Twister.
Levi Lewis.
and next time we'll be deadly serious. Next time,
Will we?
I like
always.
to joke around, man.
I won't be.
Peace.
Bye.